All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Real Talk, Real Topics. Our guest for today is going to be Raul Garcia. And before we get started, and while people are coming on, I just want to show a little clip of what it is we do
So,
here
Real
at Real
Talk
Talk.
is a organization that is made up of ex-felons, people that have been incarcerated, people that have done time or had an encounter with the police. Not necessarily felons, but just someone that's had an encounter with
Now,
the
Raul,
police
this is one
and
of the
has a
talks that
story
we
to
did
share
here at Cesar
and
Chavez.
wants to share that with these
Nice.
kids.
Born and raised in El Paso, my mom's from Mexico, first generation American, and born in the Devil's Triangle. No money, poor, just like most of y'all probably. Life was tough. Life dealt me a real crappy hand. At the age of 9, my sister got cancer. She was 2 years old. And my mom abandoned me to go be with my sister so that she could see her through her chemo and her radiation. And I was off on the streets on my own. By the age of 10, I was snorting cocaine with my homies at school, drinking vodka out of water bottles, thinking that was the thing to do. I had nobody telling me that that wasn't the thing to do. I bounced around from house to house. My brother here, Aaron, that spoke to you guys right now, his same mom, the one that he just talked about smoking crack, that's where I live. Guess who was selling crack to her and her friends? Both he and I.
That was just a little clip there, Raul. I wanted to show people as they're coming on. For those of you that haven't had an opportunity to know what Real Talk is about or haven't had a chance to listen to one of us speak, that was a short clip of me there at Cesar Chavez Academy, which is one of the schools here in El Paso where they send kids that already have felonies and kids that have been caught and they're in this school so that they can um, try to get the chance to not have that felony on their record. So that school's been really reaching out to us and they have us on a normal cycle when the school is open. Unfortunately, right now with what's going on, obviously they're closed, so we haven't been able to go out there and speak to these kids, right? But this is a little bit of what we do, you guys. We're a free program in the community. We take people like myself who have been incarcerated, and then we also have members like today's guest, who I want to introduce right now. Go ahead and tell us your name.
It's Raul Garcia.
Raul
Happy to be here
Garcia.
with you guys today.
Thank you for coming on, Raul, and taking the time to be here today. So Raul Garcia is one of our board members, and he is one of the lucky ones that he has a past per se, but fortunately, he was never caught and marked with what we call ourselves as felons, right? So Raul, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and how it is that you ended up here helping us at Real Talk, being on the board, and being an active member and volunteer for us.
Well, first of all, thank you, Julian, for having me here, and thank you everybody that's seeing this right now. Just a little bit about myself, what I do, why I got into Real Talk is I really do have a passion for youth. Um, this is coming from an ex-youth pastor. Me and my wife are youth pastors. Not too long ago. Um, and the reason why I see a passion towards kids and these teens is I got to live a life where I felt misunderstood, like most teens do. I got to
Yes,
live a life where, like you said, Julian, it's I consider myself lucky not to have ever been convicted of anything. Um,
yes,
as far as growing up, I can tell you I grew up in a very strict home, in a Christian home. My dad being a pastor,
yeah,
um, this led to a lot of bullying. I got bullied a lot, and I got to a point where I was being transferred from school to school because it was bad. I was constantly getting picked on because I wouldn't speak up. I wouldn't do anything,
yeah,
and like with everything, there's a point where you break, and I
yes,
got to a point where I was like, that's it. No one's gonna mess with me. No one's gonna ever rub me the wrong way and get away with it.
right,
Um, and that led to a lot of me trying to be a person that I wasn't. a lot of growing up too quick. A lot of
Yes.
me getting involved with the wrong people so I could feel secure. Um, a lot of drug use, a lot of violence, um, to the point where I could tell you, I was down to a point where it was like nothing itself had any, I couldn't tell you, nothing had gratification anymore.
Right.
It got to a point where it was like, I think I've done a lot, I've seen a lot, and like, I just hate life and getting to a point of being suicidal.
Now, now when
So
you uh, so when you got to that point of being suicidal, what all was involved in your life at that point? Were you doing drugs? Were you hanging out with bad people?
it got to a point I had lost my best friend in high school in a car accident. I was heavily using drugs. Um, Before it was social drugs where I mean, you hang out with people and you do drugs at a party. But
Yeah.
they got to a point where it was like I would hide from everybody and do it by myself. Started drinking by myself, and that's when you
Wow.
know you have a problem. When you completely just segregate yourself from everybody, and now you're just a drug user without
Yes.
without trying to be cool. Without no, that's just your go-to. Um, but that led to my depression. That my best friend passing away. That's uh, senior year in high school. That's what really sent me downhill.
Yeah, that's big. That's a
Um,
big change in life.
that family itself, I felt like I couldn't speak up to my parents, to my family, to everybody that saw me grow up in a Christian home. Um, so I felt like a hypocrite. I felt like I couldn't ask for help from anybody.
Right.
Um, of course, the parents knew I was in trouble because they would always be getting called into school. But it got to a point where like I tell you, I couldn't ask my friends, hey, how do you get out of this problem? Because they were in the same problem as I was, and I
Right.
couldn't go to my parents because I felt like I was going to be judged. Um, that's what led to me being so depressed and suicidal,
Wow. And what
just
what
feeling
helped you
alone.
get what helped you get out of that depression and that those suicidal thoughts at such a young age, right? And then going through something so big as losing a best friend, your senior year in high school when you're supposed to be excited, you're about to step out into the real world to a new life, a new you, new beginnings, and then bam, this happens, right? And you go through this depression, you're doing drugs, you're messing up. What was it that helped you get out of those cycles, right? Of being depressed.
I gotta give credit first of all and most foremostly, to God up above.
Amen.
Um, I could tell you, I think mom's prayers don't go unanswered, and I think that you have a certain covering even though you run from it.
Yes.
Um, and second of all, get yourself a good girl, guys. Um, my wife, my current wife, um, mother of my three kids, she was I could tell you she was my best friend through it all. She didn't like a lot of it. She cried through a lot of it. She wasn't me and my girlfriend through it, but she was just an awesome friend through it. Um,
Nice.
so it's I could tell you, good friends, good youth leaders, and I can tell you, just God Himself, just creating guidance.
Amen. So putting God at the center of your life, your relationship has helped you get steer yourself back on track, right? And having a good wife, you said those things are all sound familiar to me, right? Going through what I've been through and being in the stage of my life that I am now. Now, I'm not perfect. I'm far from it, but I know that I'm a long ways from where I was even just last year, as opposed to even 10 years ago, right? When I first got out. So, I appreciate the things that you're saying and it's a beautiful thing that you're able to keep God in the center of your life and you've been able to do some amazing things here for this community. Now, for those that don't know, I met Raul through a mutual friend, and then Raul ended up calling and offering us a free spot at one of their anti-bullying events that they were having at Bassett. So Raul, let's get into that. I know that you're involved with the community with doing events, and this is before everything happened, right? And you had a big wine and jazz festival coming up, but you've also been doing
Ah,
positive things like the anti-bullying events that you've been holding in Bassett Center, along with our good friend Juanita Gandara, the author of Zoila the Zebra. If you guys get a chance,
mhm.
check her out. If you're looking for books for your children, Zoila the Zebra, she's an amazing author, amazing story. But
True.
Raul, how is it that you got involved with doing the anti-bullying and trying to make a mark here in this community?
Okay. Well, I do want to give credit to one person, and if you're listening to this, I want to say thank you. Gracias, Tony Alvarado, great mentor
Yes,
to me, and
great
a
man.
person that helped me out with business. Awesome man, great heart. Um, Thank you so much. This man helped me with a lot of projects, everything that we wanted to do. We started doing events for the community. Like it's a, like Julian said, anti-bullying events. Why it's so close to my heart. I see
Yes,
if we're gonna do something creative and we're gonna bring one thing I'm passionate about is I can tell you anti-bullying, and another thing is small business, supporting small business, supporting, of course, all your 501c3s. That's something that I'm big on. And
yes,
these events, that's what they were about, bringing in small business and getting people out there and exposing their business. And also at the same time, if we can create a positive message, bring in a social emotional theme to it, and really focus on that, and the kids turning away and actually having resources at the end of the day, the parents actually not just going to an entertaining thing, but being able to take resources out of this, and
yes,
having more to work with after the event, um, to help out their kid that might be going through this. That was the whole purpose of these events. The other ones, like you said, I'm into doing events. You know, COVID is really kicking our butt.
yes, it
um,
is.
and we were planning a big wine and jazz festival. That should have been cool. But you know what? In a way, it helps you focus because really, I can tell you, my main thing is the events that we want to do is social emotional. Anything that has to do with women empowerment, anything that has to do with with things that will really help out the community, promote small business, everything like that. That's really the kind of events that I want to be having.
Nice. Now you also we also have some events coming up with Real Talk that I'm sure Raul's going to be helping us with, along with Michelle Rivera from Hippie Girl, who is also a board member. Hello, Michelle, if you're listening, or anybody from Hippie Girl, we thank you guys for your support. Raul, now you've been supporting us since day one, and then it took me a couple months to ask you to come on board and help us as a board member for Real Talk. And tell us about what made you accept the challenge of being with Real Talk, and what is it about the program that made you turn your head to it and take a look at it?
Oh, I can tell you like this: it's a great organization, and you see the people on top, and a great leader.
Oh,
You
thank
can
you.
see the passion. You can see the passion behind what's being done. It's not just nothing is self-focused. Everything is out for the community. Everything's out, and we're putting everything on the table for the kids, for everybody that is willing to listen to us.
Yes,
Um, that's the thing. I know personally, and I can tell you like this: I went through the Dare program. I went through so many things that didn't quite help. I don't want to minimize these things, but I love the concept of real talk. Yes, there's a lot of talking going on, but
yes,
unless you're real, unless you're actually being honest with each other, parents with kids, kids with parents, administrators, teachers, if, unless that is going on, then that's the only reason. That's the only way that we're actually communicating and actually coming to a solution. As
yes.
far as real talk, that's what impacted me. That it's we're not holding anything back. You know,
Nice.
um, and like I tell you, I like the honesty behind it, and I like that we're able to just talk about what really has made a difference.
Yes,
Whether it was sports, whether it was a good mentor, whether it was your parents that got you out of that, whether it was God straight out, and He's the one. We're not shying away from anything, and we're
yeah,
able to bring a solution, not only address the problem and shun people, but we're able to actually bring a solution and create gateways for people and create avenues where they can actually focus their energy and focus a lifestyle and go around that.
Yeah, so
That's what brought me into project.
that's awesome, because that's, that was the reason why I wanted to bring it to El Paso. And then as I saw you guys getting excited about it, um, it's been an amazing process. Now, obviously, we've hit a rough time, you guys, with this coronavirus and raising funds. So for those of you that don't know, Real Talk, we do try to do a 150 a month stipend per child for after school activity. But along with that, right now we're not able to do that, and we won't be able to do that for the next year for our kids that are participating in our classes and stuff. But like Raul said, we're trying to have resources and avenues for them to take. So just because we don't have funding right now does not mean that the program is going to stop. I want to make that clear for everyone. We're going to take this year to raise more money, and we've developed some programs along with Junior Achievement League of El Paso. Thank you so much for partnering up with us, even considering us to do something with you. We've developed a summer school program. Obviously, this summer it didn't take off due to the virus, but we're going to be teaching kids entrepreneurship skills, how to manage a small business, how to raise money for nonprofits, and how to be financially savvy. So, we're not just about the sports side of it or getting kids in after school activities. We're also trying to have avenues along with that. Southwest University, also our biggest sponsor, supporter, and we're so thankful to them for everything that they do. They feed our students at every class, our families. They donate their building to us, and they've donated all the certificates, and they've gone above and beyond, you guys. Southwest University has been great. They also have scholarship opportunities for those kids that have graduated. Real Talk. So, for those of you that don't know about Real Talk and you just know a little bit about it, we're a bunch of felons out here talking to these kids. There's a lot more that goes on the backside, which is why we have board members like Raul and Michelle Rivera and Rosa Maria and John and Dr. Hester and Santiago Gonzalez, because those people, us, myself, my wife, we go out there, we find these resources, and we're trying to make something great for this community. Um, it's not all about the money. Like Raul and I had a conversation yesterday. Um, we feel at this time that we're not asking for donations, we're not asking for money. We know that what we do is important, but it doesn't take precedence over people eating and people raising money for those that need
True.
diapers right now. So we've taken a loss, we've taken a hit, but we're staying strong, we're staying engaged with these organizations and trying to have something lined out for the kids when we do come back to the
Mhm.
program. Now, Raul, I've I've gone to several business to business meetings with you, the Breakfast with Friends, the Million Cups, and you have a great network of people here in El Paso, right? You've been dealing with small businesses for a long time. How
Mhm.
have you seen this affect them? As we just talked about how it
Ooh.
affected Real Talk. How has it affected the small businesses? Not only your friends, small businesses, like you mentioned, you were working with Tony Alvarado. How has that affected the community that you're involved with here in El Paso?
Hmm. I'll be right up front with it. Everybody's suffering. It's a no-brainer. A lot of people are suffering from this. Um, I have a message for everybody else. Anybody that's listening, anybody that's a business owner. There's right now. It's not a time to be competing.
Yeah,
Right now is a time to actually, uh, you know, take each other by the shoulders and actually lift each other up. And
yeah,
if you see a business promoting something, you see a small business, hey, help them out. It's time to share and actually start helping each other out and give each other leads. I can tell you, I talk to so many industries. I talk to uh, anybody that is doing anything. The restaurant industries, even construction industries are suffering. Solar panels, anything you can think about. Boutiques are closed out. It's bad. You hear these people and you see them fearing for their income and for their wealth and for their well-being. And
Yeah.
in all honesty, just being able to keep the lights on to make sure that they have something to eat. Things that we take for granted. Um, I can tell you, help each other out. Help each other out. Share your friends. Anybody, any business owner share their posts.
Yeah.
Help each other out. That's what it's about. And create consciousness and create awareness of other people's branding, of other people's business. That's what we all need to start doing.
Yeah, coming together and supporting. So we've taken a big loss, like I said, and it hurts my heart. It drags me down that this happened during our first year coming out the gate. We had such a strong opening with 54 kids that we were able to serve in our first class of 3 months and graduate those kids, and then this happens, right? And it's tough. It breaks my heart, but for us, we're a nonprofit. We give money away. We don't make money. We don't get paid. We don't have a payroll, so it's a lot easier for us at the same time. But I see our friends struggling, the small businesses that do support us. And you're right. I think we need to come together and lift each other up at a time like this because it's tough. And the ones ultimately suffering are those business owners that they have families and bills to pay, right, Raul? So it's
And
a little tough, but
I see people that have struggled so much to bring up their business and to actually stay afloat, and finally they've been able to overcome that, and now they're actually have a legit business that's doing great work. And after this COVID, I see everybody having to reinvent themselves completely. It's a monster that we're taking on,
yeah,
and everybody's having to get creative as far as how they're gonna work with their business. Um, so it's like starting from scratch all over again.
yeah, yeah. No, but if God's with us, we'll be okay, and we'll say a prayer for everybody that's out there struggling right now. Now,
Amen.
Raul, before we go, I just wanted to make a couple quick announcements. For those of you that like our Real Talk, Real Topics, and you liked the little clip of what I showed of what we do earlier, check us out on YouTube. We're under Real Talk Youth Impact Program EP, and you'll see a bunch of videos and a bunch of these interviews that we've done with our board members like Raul, our members like Aaron, Paul. We're about to have David Treviso Jr. on here soon. We have some other speakers coming on. So if you guys are interested, please go on there. You guys, we're not asking for money donations. We're not asking you guys for anything except please share our stuff, like it, let this spread out so we can find some really good members out there, people that want to be involved with this. So then when we come back, we have a stronger team, more members, and we're able to do a lot more for the community because together we are stronger. That's something that I
True.
definitely believe in and stand firm on is togetherness makes us stronger, and like Raul said right now, let's lift each other up. Thank you, Raul, for coming on and sharing with us. And thank you for being a part of Real Talk, being a board member. And before we go, any last words you want to say?
No, well, Julian, thank you for having me aboard, and thank you for making me part of Real Talk. And just a big shout out to all the board members out there, all the members, all the kids all the families that have been behind us through all of this, all of the small businesses. Thank you so much. Every single donation you've given to us has helped out greatly. And I can tell you, like Julian said, we're not asking for your money right now. We know times are tough, but share our video, share our vision, share what we're about.
Yes.
Um, we really are trying to make a big impact, and we're trying to we're trying to do something great for the community. We're trying to bring down the crime rate. We're trying to give people a purpose and set them straight. Give them an option. So definitely consider what Real Talk is about. If this is the first time you heard about us, do your research. Get onto our website. Look into our Facebook. We really are out on a mission to do a great thing here in El Paso and for it to spread out throughout the United States, through everywhere. So
Yes.
thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for letting us be a part of your day today.
Yes. So before we go, Raul, I always do a story. So I'm gonna do a story really quick. about a time when I got transferred in federal prison system. I told a story about when I left the annex and we left in a bus and I was in a onesie, barefoot. It's cold outside. But in the federal system, it's a lot different. You get to fly out of the prisons that you're leaving, and they take you to a mainframe, which is in Oklahoma City. So the plane lands, and you land in the airport, and then the plane taxis from the Oklahoma City airport to the prison, and you get straight off of the plane, straight into the prison, and you're there with people from all over the country. So for those of us that are tattooed, like myself, my tattoos, my gang tattoos are all over my body. You know, it's a scary feeling when you walk into a cell and you're in the middle of the country in Oklahoma City, and there's gangs from all over, and you're there and you don't know if there's one of you, if there's 20 of you, and if there's your rival enemies there. And it's a scary time. It's a really scary time, but it's part of what we put ourselves through, right? Going to prison. So for those of you thinking of doing something bad, if any kids are listening right now, stay away from it. You don't want that. It's an ugly way to live. And as always, you guys love your neighbor. Do something nice for somebody during these times. And most importantly, always love your kids. Raul, you have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you, Julian.
We'll see you. God bless you. Bye-bye.
God bless you.